My name is Megan Blake. I'm a life science pre-nursing major. I'm going to finish my degree at K-State and then transfer universities to get my BSN and become an OB nurse. The 3 stages of development that I picked for this project were the prenatal stage, newborn stage, and infancy stage, which are all things that I would deal with being an OB nurse. During the prenatal stage, there's a lot of different developmental things going on, changing a clump of cells into an actual fetus, which is pretty incredible. During this stage, the developmental theory that I think is most important is nature versus nurture. With nature, it's the parents' genes set up the child developmentally. So, like, the combination of genes can either hinder their abilities in the future or help them excel. So they're pretty much just born with it. But nurture during this stage is if the mother gets all the prenatal care that she needs and she's taking care of herself, then this can help the fetus excel in the future, as opposed to if she's not. The next stage of development that I was going to talk about was the newborn development. And I think that relates back to Vygotsky's social cultural theory. That theory has a lot to do with how cultural and social interactions impact the child's life and helps to shape them cognitively and developmentally. During this stage, there's a lot of reflexes that the child's born with and that they just kind of know when they get there. I'm kind of seeing that a lot this week with my newborn daughter. I actually get to see what we learned with her and see how it all works. But they also, during this stage, learn a lot through social and cultural interactions with the people that they are near on a day-to-day basis. And this teaches them different kind of social cues and actions, and they learn by these repeated activities or even just by watching people and imitating them. The last developmental stage that I chose to discuss was infancy. There's a lot going on during this stage. They're learning to walk, talk, and interact, and nonverbal social cues, and all of that stuff, which my son is doing at this point, so it was exciting learning about that. It's a major stage of development that kind of lays the foundation for their future. I think this stage of development is highly influenced by the social cultural theory that I just discussed, but it also has a lot to do with Erikson's psychosocial theory. That theory has multiple different stages in it, but 2 of the main stages pertain to this age group, which are trust versus mistrust and autonomy versus shame and doubt. Trust versus mistrust takes place really early on, right after birth until about 18 months old. And this is basically saying that the child will look to their caregivers or parents for guidance. And as long as they have somewhat of a regular routine and kind of predictable, then a sense of trust will be developed and they'll be more confident in the world around them. But if things are always kind of crazy, unpredictable, constantly changing, then the child may develop a sense of mistrust and be less confident and outgoing in their lives. And the next stage of this theory was autonomy versus shame and doubt, which follows directly after trust versus mistrust from about 18 months old to 3 years old. And this kind of suggests that if the child receives praise and encouragement in the things that they do, they'll develop a sense that they can accomplish the challenges set ahead of them and are more willing to do so. But if they're constantly criticized and put down, then they may develop a kind of a sense that they don't have a great self-esteem, and this can be seen in their future years, and they'll be less willing to attempt new things and try things. It was definitely interesting studying these specific 3 stages of development for my project, seeing that this is the career I want to go into, and both of my children are currently going through 2 of the stages that I talked about. I really enjoyed this course.